Hey everyone, welcome back to Knights of the Nerds Table. I'm your host, EJ. Before you go see the latest MCU installment, Thor Love and Thunder, I'm going to catch you up on what's been going on with one of Earth's mightiest Avengers, the God of Thunder himself, Thor, son of Odin. Now, if you are new to our channel, I wish you a hearty welcome. But before you zoom into the sky, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more content. Also, if you make it to the end of the video, I'll share a little behind the scenes Thor casting fun and fact. Thor is one of the founding members of the MCU and an original Avenger. He has quickly become a fan favorite, making 8 appearances in this universe. Charming, fast, ripped, and some would say,
strongest Avenger.
Access denied.
The mightiest Avenger. Thor's character arcs in the MCU and his solo movies have been interesting, if not a little uneven. Out of the original or trinity of the 3 characters, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, I always felt like the MCU was less sure of how to handle the Norse god, especially in his solo outings. So without further ado, let's do a Thor retrospective on the god of thunder, blunders, and eventually comedy. Thor made his first appearance in 2011's MCU film titled Thor. Up-and-coming actor Chris Hemsworth was tasked as the titular character, with a supporting cast of Natalie Portman as love interest Jane Foster, Tom Hiddleston as the God of Mischief, Kate Dennings as Darcy, and veteran actors Anthony Hopkins and Idris Elba, who played the Allfather and Heimdall respectively. Kenneth Branagh directed the film, and it was a decent hit with fans and critics alike. The film was a mixture of multiple genres. It opens up as a fantasy film, similar to the movies of its time like Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, and 300, telling deep lore like we are about to be treated to a mythical Norse god tale. The grandeur of Asgard, rich narration by Hopkins, and opening battles with the Frost Giants continue to hint to a medieval fantasy. But this only lasts so long until Odin throws Thor to Earth, forbidding the Frost Giants into war. From there, it immediately changes into a classic fish-out-of-water rom-com, where Thor adjusts to his newfound humanity. He eats human food, tussles with S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and in a charming chick flick fashion falls for the ambitious scientist Jane Foster. The Warriors 3 and Sif come to rescue him in the end. His powers are restored by being truly worthy to wield Mjolnir, and he ruins his tricky brother Loki's plan to rule over Asgard while the Allfather takes his Odin nap. All in all, a decent film. The finale fight was a bit underwhelming, but the film does genuinely have a lot of heart. It mixes all these elements, some work better than others, but overall it is very entertaining. Also, if Disney Plus executives are listening, if you want to kick off the series where we see adventures with Thor, Loki, Warrior 3, and Sif, I'm kind of down. Really down actually, like go get all that today. Anyways, from this point, Thor teams up in 2012's The Avengers, fighting his brother Loki once again alongside the likes of Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, and the rest of the Avengers. He kicks some Chitauri butt and defends Earth in a gigantic crossover event that right now we're kind of used to, but back then it was pretty groundbreaking. So the first Avengers movie ends with Thor returning to Asgard with Loki as a prisoner. That's where we start off Thor 2 Dark World, released in 2013. Now Thor 2 had a little bit of behind the scenes drama. Kenneth Branagh was originally poised to return to direct, but withdrew due to creative and scheduling differences. Director Patty Jenkins was the next one up to direct the movie, but she didn't really like the script, so she ended up leaving for DC, the competitor, later directing Wonder Woman. This move upset actress Natalie Portman, which is why she chose not to return to the franchise for some time after this movie. So Disney finally landed with Alan Taylor to direct, and the film certainly feels like one that didn't know what to make of itself. It opens up similar to the original, with deep Norse mythology and epic self-important narration, and stoic storytelling of ancient enemies. The Dark Elves, who want to destroy Asgard, rule the world, well, you know the deal. Thor would return to Earth again, lock lips with the heartbroken Jane Foster, and save the world from the Dark Elves in London. The leader of the Dark Elves, Malekith, is played by Christopher Eccleston, who I know as the Ninth Doctor in the English Doctor Who series. All the makings of what should be a good movie. The lore was entertaining, but the movie was held down by uneven pacing and too much time with Darcy and company, plus a lackluster finale. The only thing it really had going with it was Tom Hiddleston's performance as Loki. He started off in prison for his crimes on Earth, is freed by Thor to help him on his journey, and he fakes his death during the journey. In the end credit scene, you see that he has somehow taken the form of Odin and is pretending to rule over Asgard while Thor goes out on other adventures. 2017's Thor Ragnarok is the one Thor movie that knows what it wants to be. Directed by the ever irreverent Taika Waititi, name I always mispronounce, so I apologize for that if I messed that up. Thor officially goes through his Marvel formula / Guardians of the Galaxy makeover, with bright colors and catchy soundtracks replacing epic scores and traditional color palettes. In this movie, they really really basically get rid of everything good and bad that the first iterations of Thor had going for it. It opens up with a playful scene, with Thor beating bad guys up to a Led Zeppelin song. Thor quickly comes back to Asgard, discovers Loki's farce, and takes Loki on a hunt to find the Allfather. Hopkins really doesn't fit the new tone, so as soon as they find him, he's quickly killed off. But before he dies, he tells them that the Ragnarok is coming to Asgard, and their long-lost sister, Hela, the god of death, is coming to Asgard to destroy it. Now, Hela goes back to Asgard, unceremoniously kills the Warrior 3 and Sif, then takes over Asgard while Thor and Loki go on a journey to get back to them. Along the way, they run into Valkyrie, fight Hulk, and return to Asgard to save the remaining people. Unfortunately, to destroy Hela, Asgard needs to be destroyed with it. Now, as you could tell, this is a very dark storyline, but despite how dark the story turns, this is where Thor turns into a more comedic character. Sometimes it works, sometimes the humor muddles the story, like when there's immediately a cheap gag right after Asgard explodes into dust. In my opinion, this should be a serious moment. It's not like Bruce Wayne would laugh when his parents got shot down in Crime Alley, or Superman would get the chuckles over Krypton being blown to pieces. But to give this movie its due, the fight between Thor and Hulk is great. Jeff Goldblum's wacky and eccentric Grandmaster is hecka fun. Korg is nice in small doses, and Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie is a great addition. The central message here is that Asgard is a people, not a place. So out with the old tradition and with the new. It's a message that really is played out throughout the movie, and it's not just for Thor, but it's for the audience as well. Kind of recognize that Thor is going in a different direction. Overall, this is a good movie. I just have some problems with the execution and direction of some scenes. I'm in the minority here, I'll admit that, because most people think this one is the best Thor movie. I just miss the self-important grandiosity of the first two movies. I think a lot of studios freak out when a movie underperforms under an enormous IP. A lot of them just think that adding humor to it makes it a better film. It's more commercial for sure, but the problems with Thor Dark World weren't the tones. The problem was they wouldn't commit to the dark tone. Anyway, that's my soapbox. Back to Thor. Thor's arc in the final two movies of the Infinity Saga, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, is Thor at his best. Big boy Thanos opens up Infinity War by intercepting the ship filled with escaping Asgardians and murdering half the ship's occupants, as is kind of his MO. Thanos murders Loki, Heimdall, and brutally embarrasses Hulk and Thor. For the rest of the film, Thor is on a revenge tour, barely surviving from Thanos' beating. He rebuilds himself, rebuilds the hammer to fight Thanos in the finale, only to fail in the end by not cutting off Thanos' head. These events spiral him into a Great Depression, and you can see that demonstrated with him throughout the movie. Now, this movie actually kind of addresses the problems I had with Thor Ragnarok. He's going through obviously traumatic things, but we actually take a moment there where he's with Rocky the Raccoon, where he talks about everything he's gone through. You can see the weight of what's been going on truly gets him down. And that's what I want to see, right? If you're going to have a dark storyline, well, then you have to have the darkness actually matter. And that's kind of, my problems with Thor Ragnarok. But anyway, I won't go too far down that. So in Endgame, he is still technically king of the rest of the Asgardians that survived Thanos' attack on the ship. He reluctantly joins the Avengers to go back in time with the rest of the Avengers to beat Thanos once and for all. He gets encouragement from his mother in the past, and she lets him know that even though he's let himself go, mentally and physically, he is still worthy because Mjolnir still comes to his grasp.
Sometimes it takes a second.
In the final battle, Thor gets some epic Thanos action. He's part of the team that brings this monster to a close. In the end, he leaves Valkyrie as queen of the Asgardians and goes off for self-searching with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess they're now called, in the movie, the Asgardians of the Galaxy. Now, I have mixed feelings about this ending, as I love everything about exploring Thor's hurt, loss, redemption, but I'm not super keen about him just rejecting his birthright to lead the Asgardians to go off and find himself. Out of the original three, he really didn't get as much time to shine as Captain America and Iron Man, but he did get to redeem himself, overcome his past, and shine like he did in Days of Old. So that's kind of where we left off. Now we're all caught up and ready for Love and Thunder. After her arguments and disagreements with the studio, Natalie Portman will return as Lady Thor, finally proving herself worthy of the hammer. Tessa Thompson is coming back as Valkyrie as well, and apparently we're even going to get some Guardians of the Galaxy action. Rumors are saying that this could be Chris Hemsworth's final go at the character. Let's hope that the God of Thunder goes out with a bang. So thanks for watching our video. What did you think about Thor's journey so far? What do you hope to see in Love and Thunder? Go ahead and comment below and tell us what you think. And don't worry, I didn't forget. I do have a little bit of a fun fact for you about the casting of Thor. Now, as we know, Chris Hemsworth did take over the role, but did you know that that was not always going to be the case? Tom Hiddleston, who got the role of Loki, at first actually auditioned as Thor himself. There is actually footage out there of his audition tape, which is quite interesting to say the least. In addition, Chris Hemsworth, real life brother, Liam Hemsworth, actually auditioned for the role as well. Apparently, Chris bombed the first audition so much that they brought in Liam thinking he might be better for the role. But in the end, they decided to go with Chris instead of Liam. I'm sure that leads to a lot of interesting conversations at the Thanksgiving dinner table for the Hemsworths. So that's my fun fact. Thank you for staying in. Again, we can't wait to talk to you more about this film when it comes out this Thursday, July the 7th and the 8th, technically, depending on where you are. We will see you again. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight to the Nerds Table. My name is EJ. I hope you have a great night. Take care.